This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
The neighborhood in which she was born and grew up, like her parents and grandparents before her, and generations before them, all the way back to the late 15th century when these Sephardic Jews were banished from Spain and scattered across Europe and the Mediterranean. Because she has come here, I have too, even though I don't yet know her even a fraction as well as I will. Having learned while I was in Rome that she was planning to make a late-in-life return visit to Rhodes, I booked a ticket and more or less invited myself. Later, she will tell me this was one of the reasons why she decided to trust me with her story. Later, I will understand that I went, in part, to earn her trust. The two of us had met just a few months earlier at Casa Italiana, the Greenwich Village home of the Department of Italian Studies at NYU, where one evening in February 2015, late for a lecture, I hastily dropped into a chair, the only open seat remaining at a long rectangular wooden table. As I was catching my breath, a question came floating over my shoulder, posed in a thick Italian accent. "Where are you coming from that you're in such a hurry?" The woman asking this question was older, elegant. Her features were emphatic, her hair tinted brown and immaculately shaped to frame her face. She was wearing a dark skirt, a cardigan, silver rings with stones on alternating long fingers. I told her that I was coming from a French lesson. She nodded thoughtfully. I had come to Casa Italiana, as she had, to listen to a talk about the relationship among museums, memory, and Nazi fascism. The speakers would discuss memorials, the challenges of marking the actual settings where abhorrent events have taken place, or of marking or commemorating these abhorrent events in unrelated places. She had a second question now. Might I ask why you are studying French? Her brown eyes were sharpened, honed with curiosity. I sensed her wanting, expecting an incisive or at least an interesting answer. I only had the answer that I had. I explained that French was the first foreign language I ever learned, beginning in junior high school. After years of speaking more Italian, I told her, I was trying to bring it back. I didn't want to embarrass myself when I traveled, I said. I would like to read Proust in his own language one day. Somehow, under her fierce gaze, I feared that all this came out as baguette, croissant, beret, as in, I would like to be able to ask for such items in a Parisian shop. She nodded again. Are you interested in knowing how French served me in my life? Having discovered that I spoke Italian, she switched languages, as now so did I. Certamente.
When I arrived in Auschwitz, they did not know what to do with us, Jews who don't speak Yiddish. What kind of Jews are those? I tried to explain that we were Judeo-Spanish-speaking, Sephardic, Italian Jews from the island of Rhodes. They didn't understand what that even meant. They asked us if we spoke German. No. Polish? No. French? Yes, I said. French? I speak. I spoke French, some French, because in Rhodes my sisters attended school in French, and what they studied they shared at home. Because I spoke French at Auschwitz, they put several of us girls from Rhodes together with the French and Belgian women who spoke the French and Yiddish, a little German too, enough so that they could translate and they could communicate. Because they could communicate, they managed to survive, and therefore so did we.
She sat back in her chair. C'est comme ça que le français m'a servi dans ma vie. The following morning, I received a call from Natalia Indrimi, the director of Centro Primo Levi, a New York-based organization dedicated to exploring the Italian Jewish past that had organized the lecture. I knew Natalia because I had asked her for help researching a story set in Italy during the war years, a subject that had interested me ever since I lived in Italy for a time in my 20s. Stella Levi, Natalia said, the woman I'd sat next to the previous night.